Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new report proclaims the Phoenix area as a hot real estate market for next year. We'll discuss the challenges veterans face when getting their post-military education, and we'll see how SRP plans to power internet growth through data centers. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A new report lists the Metro Phoenix area as one of the top 10 real estate markets to watch for 2015. Here now to tell us more about the report is Catherine Rieger. She's real estate reporter for the Arizona Republic. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Good to have you back now. Okay, top 10 markets for 2015. Who did this report?
Realtor.com. And they get information from all the cities from different MLSs, and this is their new chief economist. And they didn't rank the top 10, but Phoenix was in the top 10, and they're very bullish.
Okay, they're very bullish. I'm interested in this because not a lot of folks are very bullish about a variety of aspects of the Arizona economy. They're looking at high potential for income growth.
And we can only go up, no. And we all hope with the jobs and what's going on with economic development, we do have income growth. So that is good. And I think when they're comparing us to other cities like Los Angeles, San Jose made the list, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., it does look like we'd be in a good spot for that. We will watch and see what happens with the jobs.
So they're saying job growth and income growth, and they're seeing increased new home construction. Really?
Yes, and we haven't, our home building industry has not recovered
Right.
from the crash. And in October, it was a very bad month for home building. The market dropped 33% from a year before. We're about 15% off last year's pace. And so by this time, we thought we'd see more of a recovery. A big problem there is that we have the biggest spread historically between resale prices and new home prices. So it's very tough to afford a new house right now based on.
Even with the market in the doldrums, that
Yes,
separation still
yes.
exists.
And a lot of it is the prime land areas like Gilbert, Chandler are still very popular with buyers, and land is more expensive there. But yes, and so they're doing a lot more urban projects, and those are more expensive, so the median price is higher. But yes, so that is many people who cannot afford new homes are staying out of that market.
And I also noticed this report, they mentioned that the overall population is expected to increase. Again, we're hearing that one of the problems we're having is that folks aren't moving here like they have in the past.
Yes, sometimes there is a disconnect we see between national economists and local economists.
Yes.
The story was interesting. I am hearing on the other side good things about the housing market. Not the same good things that the report said, but different good things.
So what are you hearing?
Looking really at the spring, really optimistic groups and analysts that called the crash and the bubble and the start of the recovery in 2012 think going to be strong in the spring. Of course, the Super Bowl always gives us a boost because everyone comes from colder areas and says, what a great time to be here, and houses. But lots of things like maybe lending guidelines, a little bit looser so more people can get a loan.
Explain that more. What are we seeing out there? What are you expecting?
It's been really tough since the new guidelines were put in place last January, and it's the higher down payments. People can do that, but it's the extensive paperwork and lenders being much more cautious, which is not always a bad thing.
Right.
But to the point when you have stellar credit and you have the money in the bank, and it's just become such an arduous process where you're like, do I want to go through this? Hearing more private lenders possibly coming to the table because they have the money to invest. They will still, want to make sure they get a return on their money and the borrowers can repay. But lots of stirrings, and then some stirrings, pressure from the federal government on lenders to encourage more mortgages.
And I would imagine that we're now 7 years into this housing, whatever you describe, what have you. At 7 years is usually the time when folks who had early trouble can wander their way back into the market if they so choose.
Yes, very much, starting with the foreclosure crisis, and now where we are, people can buy again, and people who maybe could have bought a couple years ago who have been saving money can buy again. Home prices are flat after rising for the past few years, so that's a good time to buy when prices are flat. And then look at interest rates, how
Yes.
low they are. Supply isn't huge. We don't have an oversupply at this point, but there are houses out there and homeowners who want to sell. So pretty good conditions if the lending conditions improve.
If springtime does see a big increase in attention to the market, could we have a shortage of homes out there?
I think there are a lot of homeowners, and you probably know them, and I do too, who are waiting to sell. And they're looking for that increase in demand again, and they want to get maybe a slight boost in prices. So I think it will draw more homeowners who can sell to put their houses up market.
You mentioned foreclosures down a lot. To give us a better indication of what's going on out there.
We are back down to early 2007's level, so almost the boom level. Other parts of the country, like Nevada and even parts of Florida, are seeing increases again. We are not seeing increases again. So a good sign that people can continue to pay their mortgage. And if you couldn't, unfortunately, not in that position anymore, or have been able to sell because we did have half of a rebound in home prices from the crash. But no, our foreclosures are low, and everything I hear is that they will remain low.
What about investors? What kind of activity there?
Some investors are selling maybe a dozen homes, but they own a month, but they own, 1,000. No rush for investors to sell. I think they're also waiting. They're huge demand from renters right now, either because they can't buy, they're not ready to buy in Metro Phoenix, or they want to live in an area where they can afford to buy. Urban housing is very popular right now. So.
Interesting. And you mentioned a huge demand by the rental market. It's still pretty strong, isn't it?
Yes. Rents are up, I think, about 6% from a year ago. And the number of homes for rent is down. And that continues to grow. It adds to as investors buy and do that every month. But strong demand. That's either because they can't buy because of lending, or they can't afford where they want to buy. So strong demand from renters.
So it sounds, again, from you and from others we've had on, it sounds like the market's kind of dog paddling right now. They're kind of circling the lake a little, waiting to find a way out. I don't know if I'm getting lost in my metaphor there. But the bottom line, it seems like things will happen coming up in the next few months.
That's everything I'm hearing and seeing, and it's not just hype, like, hey, let's say the market just improves, so it's going to improve. No, they're seeing investors talking, different groups talk about lending, different groups targeting Phoenix for projects, and because they believe that demand is there.
Is that demand there for certain types of homes over others?
We're definitely seeing a lot of very cool, interesting new urban housing, not just in Central Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale, and so far buyers are going to those houses.
Yeah, but high-end market as opposed to low-end, are you seeing?
The whole range. In
even
Tempe,
condos, townhouses?
Yeah, some great townhouses around $300,000. Now that is the median for a new home. A resale home is $210,000, so it's a little more, but you're in Central Scottsdale and you get a 2-car garage and a 3-bedroom townhouse in a good location close to light rail, and in those areas closer, and that's all that's left for land, or there's a really high density. So, but not, I think there are about 800 condos, townhomes on the drawing board and being built right now, and that compares to 8,000 during the boom.
Yes.
And only half of those ever were built, and most of them were turned into rentals. So
yes.
We're not anything like that.
All right. Well, it sounds encouraging. We'll see what happens. If nothing else, it sounds like we're waking out of the slumber. There's another metaphor. The dog paddle is waking out of the slumber.
I love them.
All right. Good to see you again.
Thanks.
Opportunities and challenges facing veterans will be the focus of a special program later tonight here on 8 Arizona PBS. The show is titled Arizona Veterans Coming Home, Ask an Expert, and it will offer viewers a chance to call and have their questions and concerns answered by experts on veterans issues, I should say. Education will be among those issues addressed tonight, and joining us now is Joanna Sweat. She's the military advocate at ASU's Pat Tillman Veterans Center. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What are the challenges faced? We're going to talk more about this later tonight, but the challenges facing returning veterans when it comes to education.
Well, there's a few of them. First and foremost, it's the transition out of the service, because generally they're using education as a transitional step. Our current GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill, is very robust in that it provides not only the financial piece to cover tuition, but also provides a housing and living stipend. So many of those that are leaving the service either unexpectedly or after one too many deployments, it seems like the next easy step is to pursue education.
And you mentioned the GI Bill is still very much in play then, correct?
Yes. We don't know of it going anywhere at this point.
Okay.
So it's actually being improved as well, because there's been federal legislation that's passed that is telling institutions that are public schools to charge in-state tuition as the max value of education for veterans returning to their universities.
With the GI Bill there, are there concerns over school loans? Are there concerns? I know for-profit universities had some trouble there targeting military folks. What are you seeing out there?
I'm not really familiar on that side because I work at ASU, which is a public institution, so most of our students are covered at 100% on the GI Bill. They do qualify for things such as the Pell Grant, which gives them some extra money to help offset some of the other incidental costs, but I don't see a lot of our students partaking on the student loan side.
Can you compare the education one gets in the military with the education they will get at an ASU?
It's grossly different because in the military you're at a appointed place and you have an instructor that you have to listen to. There's no nodding off. There's no derelict behavior that's associated with military style of teaching. Now that they're here in a traditional university setting, they're dealing with all the different distractions that happens in a classroom. In a military classroom, everybody is sitting straight, looking forward, and paying attention to the period of instruction. In the civilian classroom, you've got young students on Twitter, on their Facebook, typing away, milling away on their computers or cell phones, which is a huge distraction to veterans. Believe it or not, they come to my office to vent, and that's the biggest problem that they have is just not being able to control their learning environment because most professors are just, they're giving their spiel, and then that's the end of class, and you go on and you're expected to kind of reiterate yourself and learn, and they're having trouble with that because they want that connection with the professor, they want that one-on-one, and you don't really get that in a university setting.
And I would imagine as well, in the military, failure is not an option.
It's not an option, no.
And with that in mind, is it hard for some of these folks to adjust to
Absolutely.
B's, C's, and D's, the occasional bad grade that comes down the pike?
It does, and most of it comes to time management. So when you're in the service, you're told what to do, when to be, and your schedule is set. There's no deviation. Now that they're in school, they get to pick their schedule, but there's not anybody over them managing where they're going to be, what they should be doing. So managing all this free time that they think they have at the end of the day when assignments aren't being done,
right,
or you're procrastinated that assignment to the last day that it's due, is when you realize, wow, I should have probably managed time better. So that's something we discuss with them.
And you mentioned that this is maybe the most common thing when they come to you and talk about concerns. What do you tell them?
Well, so I tell them to treat the university or their college life as a job, because most of them, that's what they're pursuing full time. So instead of being a transient student, which most veterans start off being, is they go to their class and they leave campus, and then maybe they'll come back for another class later, or they'll go home to their families, which could be a distraction as well. So I tell them, set your schedule, make it like a 9 to 5. If you're on campus, you stay on campus for a greater part of the day and complete your assignments there prior to going home. That way you don't have those kind of distractions after you leave school.
And other aspects of fitting in, again, we're talking about folks who many of them have seen and experienced things that their college classmates simply have not and will not experience. The ability or lack thereof to fit in, how big of a problem is that?
I think initially they're apprehensive about it. That's one of the concerns. I know when I returned back to school, it was very daunting to walk into the classroom because you're looking in there and you're like, wow, nobody really looks like me. I'm going to be the old lady in the room. But once you get past that and get in, I think the students start to realize over time, if they're open to it, that although they've had different experiences, they're very much the same in that they have a goal with their education, and they may even have some of the same career goals. So you just have to get past that initial difference that seems to be in front of you, and then realize where the commonalities are, and there are quite a few.
And when you speak to veterans, is there a difference that you find between older veterans returning to school and younger veterans?
Yes. So I feel like maybe the 30 plus side may actually transition probably a little smoother than those even that are that just had maybe an initial tour in the service and maybe got out at 24, 25. And I think the difference is because by the time you hit 30, most of them have families and children, and so they've evolved to a certain point. So they're at college for a goal, and they're pursuing that, and they're really focused. But then when you have the 25-year-old Marine or soldier that's coming out, and they're kind of close to that peer still, but there is that big difference with experiences and not getting each other. So I think when you look more like the population that's at the university, but you don't feel the same, that could almost be worse.
Interesting.
So we try to combat that, and we discuss groups that the students can get involved in just to become more a part of the student body population.
All right, well, good stuff. And again, the Ask an Expert show regarding veterans issues is on later on this evening, but we wanted to get a kind of a little preview here with education.
Yes.
Good to have you here.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Technology and Innovation looks at a joint effort by Salt River Project and the high-tech firm Baselayer to help grow the internet with reliable power while at the same time reduce the need for added power infrastructure. Here to talk about all this is Clint Poole, manager of wireline services at SRP Telecom. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I sounded like I knew what I was talking about in that introduction, but I'm going to ask you some pretty basic questions here. What is a data center and how is SRP involved with them?
So data centers are the buildings that power the internet. So if you think about information being stored and processed when you go to your smartphone or computer, it's occurring on servers that are inside of buildings, and these buildings are called data centers.
Okay, what is a data station?
So data station is a concept that SRP is working on, and it's SRP's concept, and it really explores and it seeks out to solve some supply and demand challenges between the data center industry and the power utility. A data station takes what is known as the modular data station, or data center, which Baselayer has pioneered. So Baselayer is a data center company that kind of solved this problem of the old building just isn't scaling fast enough for the internet industry. So they created mobile containerized data centers. And what that allows us to do is take the data center where the power load is and move it to the key arteries on our transmission grid where the power is available and reliable and of good power quality.
So what we're seeing these are modular data centers that Baselayer has developed, and you guys have found a way to work with Baselayer, this high-tech firm, to move them where the grid is.
Yeah, absolutely. The concept really came about because these data centers, that consume a large amount of power, today it's estimated that they use 2% of all the power used in the United States. And by the year 2030, that could reach 20% of all the power used in the United States. So for utilities such as SRP, delivering power to data centers in the traditional sense, that means growing the power grid. And growing the power grid is expensive, the project timelines are very long, and it can create impact and disruption to the community. So what we're attempting to solve here is how do we support the growth of the data center industry and the internet, and without the need for grid expansion and keeping the disruption of the community to a minimum. And that's by bringing the data center to the power grid.
And when you say to the power grid, I would imagine closer to power lines, closer to fiber optics, these sorts of things?
Yeah, you got it. The power grid's a very complex system, and as you move up it, it's like a supply chain of electrons. You get up to the bulk transmission layer, which is the most reliable and carries the most amount of power. We're attempting to take those data centers and plug them into the bulk transmission layer of the power grid.
Okay, and now and again, you mentioned this earlier, but the concept of reliable power, that's huge for the high-tech industry.
Absolutely. To the extent that data centers require reliable power, today data centers are spending as much as 40% of the cost of construction on power reliability. So that's generators and backup batteries. So if you can reduce or eliminate that need, then that's a substantial cost savings to the data center industry.
Part of the attraction here is that ratepayers won't have to pay too much in terms of expanding the grid, as you say. Is this because simply you're moving the mountain to Muhammad? I mean, is that what you're doing here?
Yeah, that's right. You're taking the need to the source. You're taking the data center power load to where it's available, rather than the traditional way of doing it, which is building transmission lines to where the data centers decide they want to go.
Now, did Baselayer, were they the first to come up with this idea of these modular data centers?
They are the first to create the modular for this purpose.
Okay.
So we worked with them for this purpose of creating a modular data center for the power station. And an extremely innovative company, and and it doesn't hurt that they're right across the street. So yeah, they absolutely.
So as far as the combination and getting this idea started and getting it to fruition, and when is it up and operational now?
So right now we're working on a proof of concept, and the proof of concept is in construction right now, and it will go live Q1 of 2015. So in the next few months.
Okay, and how many plan to be deployed, do you think?
Well, the modular proof of concept accommodates 4 modules, and that's up to 1 megawatt of power.
So, but I mean, in one location.
In one location.
Will there be other locations?
Oh, absolutely. So the idea is to evaluate and test the proof of concept. In the data center industry, they have what's called a tier rating, and the Uptime Institute puts out a tier rating that rates data centers based on power reliability. But that tier rating is based on how much generation capacity and how much battery banks do you have. So by taking and actually taking the data center and applying it to reliable power, you don't have the need. So there's not a tier structure. So what we need is a third-party assessment for power reliability. And once we get that and we're able to demonstrate the power reliability, then it's going to be commercialized, and we expect that to happen in this upcoming next year.
Up in the next year. Yes. Yeah, because you wonder, you have all these little spots now, all of a sudden in different spots, how many can be run at the same time? You kind of worry that you're overloading the system, but you're saying...
That's right. That's what the bulk transmission system was built for.
Okay. As far as the future now, and as far as the impact on consumers, how can you be sure that this is going to cut costs, or at least cut the increase in costs at the future date?
Well, what we're trying to do is keep costs down, and you do that by keeping your systems or your equipment or your assets down to a manageable sense. And this really gets to the legacy of SRP, of planning for tomorrow's needs today and being resource managers. And what we're doing is we're getting the best utilization out of the power grid to support the needs of the Valley tomorrow. And so we're able to keep costs down by not expanding the power grid.
Are there other players that could be involved in this at a later date, or is this something that's pretty specific to you and Baselayer?
Well, right now we're the only ones. This is the first of its type. we expect, this is a common sense solution that solves problems for multiple industries.
Yeah.
So we expect that this will be replicated.
All right, so we look for the prototype here within the next few months?
That's correct.
And we look for this being online and operational within the next year?
In the next year, that's right.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on this. Very interesting stuff. Good to have you here. Thanks for
having
joining
me.
us. And Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, the state's Clean Elections Director will talk about keeping politicians honest at a time when Arizona has been deemed the most corrupt state in the nation. And we'll hear about guidelines approved for school report cards. It's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. And a reminder, later on this evening now, our Ask an Expert on veterans issues will be seen here on 8 Arizona PBS. Your opportunity to call in and ask a panel of experts waiting there live for your phone calls on a variety of issues regarding veterans and acclimating those veterans back into the community. That's later on tonight here on 8. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.